Good evening. It's Wednesday, September 16th, and we're going to be reading Chapter 10 of Writing Chance. All right, let's find out what's going on with Troy. Yesterday, he got to get on Chance for the first time. Chapter 10, Crying. How'd Winston get me to almost crying up on that horse? That would have been totally uncool. At night, when my mom first passed, I couldn't help crying, but I never did nothing like that outside the house. Never let my guard down, but that horse Chance, being around her, made me feel like I didn't have to hide nothing. I don't know if it's kind of hard to explain. After that first ride, I told everybody how cool I was. I didn't need to saddle. I rode bareback and all like that. But I didn't say nothing, not even to Foster, about the other thing. So I was surprised when he brought it up. Not during the week. He waited until we were on our way back to the stables the next Saturday. We were on our bikes, cruising down the road that leads to the place. There wasn't any traffic, so we were riding right next to each other. So, Mr. Mello, been dreaming about Chance all week? Mr. Mello, I said. Where'd you get that? You know, that's your new name, don't you? Since when? Since you went into a trance. He threw his head back and crossed his eyes. Oh, don't tell me you forgot. The truth is, I've been thinking about it all week, and looked like he'd been thinking about it too. A trance, I said. Man, I was just catching up on my sleep. Yeah, right, he flipped his hand at me. I caught a few Z's, I said. If you were smart, you would have done the same thing. Ain't no way I was going to close my eyes up on that big thing. He took his hands off the handlebars and spread them real wide. You must really be into this, he said. You go into a trance every time you come here. That caught me off guard, so I stood straight up, sort of like a zombie. Well, I said, trance on this. I stayed like that for a few seconds, then took off on my bike. Last one in looks like Percy the goat, I shouted over my shoulder. We tore up that last stretch of the road. I won. That's the day Winston started giving us real horseback riding lessons. First, we mucked out all the stalls. Then he showed us how to groom the horses. You know, how to brush them and everything before we rode. Not bareback, but with a saddle. Riding was more work. The horses had to be taken care of before and after you rode, and you had to take care of the leather stuff too. But even with all of that, I liked being there. Sometimes it was hard to believe I was still in Philly. Oh, and there was Alicia. She was in the track room when I went in to put the saddle blanket I'd used back on the rack. It started feeling like you've been here forever, she said. I looked around at all the equipment in the room. Just a little while ago, I didn't know what any of this was. It's not bad. Not bad, she said. Come on, you know you like it. She threw the cloth she'd been using to polish her horse's halter at me. I said it's all right. I bent down to pick up the cloth. Well, you know you passed his test. Whose test? Uncle Winston's, dummy. He's just doing his job. I handed the cloth back to her. This is way more than his job, she said. He doesn't waste his time on kids who aren't worth it. Worth it? I frowned. How do you know I'm worth it? It shows, she said, looking straight at me. You're not the same knucklehead you were when you started. This time I didn't hide my face. Knucklehead? I said. I was never like that. You know what I mean, she said. I was a mess for a long time after my parents died, too. I squeezed my eyes shut. I'd never talked about this with anybody before. Do you still miss them? I asked. Yeah, but it gets better, and you still have your dad, right? I took a deep breath. Not really. I took another deep breath because I felt my chin starting to tremble. I don't really have my dad right now. He's sad all the time. Well, you're lucky you found this place, she said, leaning into me. This place makes everybody feel better. Her face seemed to shine right then. It was hard to believe she'd even been sad. We didn't say anything else. There wasn't any need to. Foster was waiting for me in front of the stables. It was my turn to let Winston know we were leaving. He was in his office when I knocked on the door. Me and Foster are taking off, I said. He waved me inside. Winston never beat around the bush. He just jumped right into whatever he had to say. Have you ever been in a relationship? I just finished talking to Alicia, so I thought he was heading someplace I didn't want to go. What kind of relationship? I'm not talking about my niece, although I see your friends. He leaned back in his chair. Well, if you hadn't jammed me on my second day, she may have not paid any attention to me. Winston smiled. I needed to see what you're made of, he said. You've been looking for something, right? You've been some stupid stuff. But you're not a bad kid. What's it to you? I said, looking out the window. You move well and you try to play cool, but if you're going to play with me and my horses, you need more than that. I still didn't know where the conversation was going. You need heart, he said. I asked you about relationships because I'm hooking you up with Chance. She's a polo pony, and I think she's right for you. You make it sound like Chance is going to be my girlfriend. She better be. And that is the end of chapter 10. We'll find out what's going on between Chance and Troy tomorrow. Have a good night, friends. Bye.